It's my privilege to welcome all of you on behalf of Harshad India to the launch of Dark Things by Sukanya Venkatraghavan. A big thank you. You guys are here on a weekday at 5 in the afternoon. It's amazing. Thank you so much. And a big thanks to Vidya Balan for taking the time to support the book. We also want to thank Title Waves for being such gracious hosts. Sukanya and Vidya don't need an introduction, but I'm going to make an attempt anyway. Apart from being one of India's most talented actresses, she's a huge bookworm and she reads anything. So I'm looking forward to her thoughts on Dark Things. Sure.
Hi everyone. Hello everyone.
Okay, hi, the best thing about today's book launch, is that it's so close to home. Sorry. Hi. No, and I've never been to Tidal Waves before, so I'm happy to have come here for such a special occasion because Sukanya and I go back a long way. Congratulations. Yeah, I did my first ever Filmfare interview with Sukanya.
My first interview for Filmfare.
So we shared first. And I think, you know, what I always enjoyed about my interviews with Sukanya is that she made the introduction so fantastical. It's like a book. I always read it and I said, really, did I look like this or did I talk like this? Because she always made me feel like a goddess in all of those introductions. So I don't know if I've ever said it to you before, but thank you.
She's exaggerating. She always made great copy. And we have always had great fun in the interviews. She's just been nice.
Okay, you know, I've been reading the book Dark Things. I'm extremely fascinated. I've read about 200 pages out of 343. Am I right on that? And it was unputdownable. It's not just because I would have done this launch anyway because of, you know, the equation Sukanya and I share, but and because of the fact that I've always enjoyed reading her interviews, mostly of mine, sometimes of others also. You know, the subject makes a huge difference. But so I would have done this anyway, but I loved reading the book. So I'm happy I've enjoyed reading the book. I'm enjoying reading it. At some point I felt like, you know, do I really have to do...
Down.
At some point I felt like, do I really have to go to the launch today? Can't I just finish the book? I want to know what happens next. So, no, don't worry. I'm going back and forth. No? Are you sure? I'm really okay. Yeah. I'm a steady character otherwise. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. You know, firstly, both of us hail from Kerala. So the first thought that crossed my mind when I read, is there anyone here who's read the book?
Yes.
Yeah? Quite a few. Okay. So you guys know that it's about a Yakshi. And where we come from in Kerala, even though I was born and brought up here, we've heard of, you know, Yakshi stories, people getting possessed by Yakshis. So I really wanted to know if that was the inspiration behind you writing a Yakshi story, or why did you decide to write a Yakshi story, really?
So I've always been obsessed with Yakshis. And in the school I studied, there was this frangipani champa tree, and the Aya used to tell us, don't go near that because it's possessed by Yakshi, and if you go near it, she's going to eat you up. And it was, and champas are beautiful flowers, and I've always loved them. And then my grandfather and my grandmother would tell me stories about Yakshis. And there's a great Malayalam folklore epic called the Aidihya Mala, which has a lot of Yakshi stories. Having said that, I think the Yakshi in my book, although she has her roots in the stories that I heard as a child, I think that she's kind of different. I mean, I've just put a spin on her, and yeah, I hope that actually appeals to everybody.
Uh, I'm sure she will. I found her extremely intriguing, but what really, really excited me was the fact that your primary or your antagonist is really female, and that you see very rarely in fantasies. You know, whether even in the films that we've seen, invariably the villain ends up being male. I love that the villain here is
I'm
female.
glad. I'm glad you like her. Hera was my favorite character to write actually. I think I'm really obsessed with fairy tales, and fairy tales have evil queens, and like the Snow Queen, and then there's the Queen in Snow White, and I thought that I didn't even think about it actually. It never occurred to me that I would specifically think about the gender of my antagonist. I just started writing and it turned out to be an evil goddess, and there you are. I don't think the gender, you know what, I didn't really think about the fact that, oh my god, I'm writing about a
So
woman.
it has nothing to do with the fact that you're a woman and you understand the dark side of
That too. I mean, as you progress, yes. Thank you. As you progress, yes. But while she was being thought of in my head, no, I didn't think, oh my god, let me write a female villain. It wasn't one of those. I think it happened very seamlessly.
But where do you come up with things like, Forest of Fireflies? I've never heard of anything like that. It was just,
In my head.
yeah, and I began to visualize it, and it's just amazing.
I think when you're used to living in an alternate universe, I think all writers live in an alternate universe. I think all the writers here will agree with me.
I think in
Reality
Bombay, everyone lives in
is
an
an alternate universe. This is also true. This is also true.
Oh, let me get that correct. In Mumbai,
In Mumbai.
everyone lives in an alternate universe. I have to get out also.
And probably the one day you reach home early, you wonder if you crawl through a wormhole and got there into an alternate universe. This is true. I think writers constantly inhabit alternate universes, and alternate universes you have things like Forest of Fireflies and Atala and Akasha, and you have all these things, and it's not unusual.
But you're obviously very, very influenced by mythology. Because I can see that not just Indian mythology, but also there are influences from Greek. Am I right when I say that?
Yeah, world mythology.
I've never sounded this seriously. Now you know I've read the book.
Yes,
Now we clear.
now I know. World mythology, I think. My antagonist's name is Hera, which is a very Greek goddess name. And there are creatures too and all through the book which come from all kinds of mythology. And I actually, just like we say in cinema, that let's not say regional and national and Tamil and Malayalam and Hindi and Bhojpuri or whatever. I believe that mythology is universal. So again, I didn't actually think that I was taking from a particular mythology, like Indian or Greek. I just took from mythology. I was just inspired by the particular mythology.
You're a writer. Why are you glamorously dressed?
I thought about it. I thought I should come like a really, unemployed author, so that all of you would actually buy the book. But I have friends who are stylists. I don't know if they are here yet. They would beat me up. So I didn't want to take that chance.
No, I'm just kidding. With absolutely no disrespect meant to writers. I'm just having fun. Your book has also very interesting names that one hasn't really come across before. Like, I don't know how to pronounce this, but is it Dwy or Dwy?
If you like the D, then Dwy. If you want to be a little American, then Dwy. Otherwise, Dwy is fine.
Yeah, Dwy has it anything to do with Dvija or with...
Well, there is a line in the book where Ardra asks Dwy, is his name Indian? And he says yes. And he says it's short for something. We learn in the book what it's short for. I don't think I'm going to reveal it though. Let's see if anybody can come up with it after they've read the book, if they can figure out which name it's short for.
So, when are we doing that second session?
Whenever you're free, Priyanka
Come
dates.
directly after reading the book.
Where's Priyanka and Aditi? Dates.
Okay, we talked about the names. There was something else I was itching to ask you, and suddenly I've drawn a blank.
That's fine. I wanted to.
Sorry.
Yeah, no
Now I'm
problem.
going to ask you. I wanted to ask you whether this has been your favorite genre, whether this is all you've read since childhood. Of course, you've heard stories and all that you said, but you know, it's because what really struck me was that I'm not too much of a reader. While everyone thinks I give this intellectual vibe, I wear saris with manuscripts, so people think कि मैं पढ़ती रहती हूँ. एक मिनट के लिए भी नहीं छोड़ती हूँ. But that's not true. But from the little that I've read, I don't think I've come across an Indian book which contemporizes mythology so fantastically. There are other books in recent times which have contemporized mythology, but yours is of course a different take on it, and it's so.
Mine is probably more fantasy than mythology. It's probably fantasy with its roots in mythology, and I've taken a lot of liberties, and I've created my own mythologies. So,
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I want to ask you, there was that bit about the sun and the moon falling in. Can I say it?
Yeah, sure.
There's a bit about the sun and the moon falling in love, and the Gandharvas being, you know,
The children of the sun and the moon.
Is that
Yes.
true or
No, that's my own mythology. Because in original.
I just want to know who's the sun and who's the moon.
Oh, no, again, secrets. I think in our original Hindu mythology, Urmi is here. Urmi would, yes, there she is. Urmi is expert on mythology. I think in the original they originated from the Samudra Manthan, the Apsaras and the Gandharvas, but of course I've done my own thing in the book. So I'm glad you like it.
I do, and is there anything you want to ask me? I'm not used to this, you know, I get asked questions.
She has
Who's your favorite character in the book? Yes, that's the one. You know, I must say that I like both of them equally, but I want her to end up with Dara.
Okay, that is spoiler arena. Next question, please. That is spoiler.
Sorry.
Okay, you haven't reached the end of the book, so that's fine.
Okay, but and I really like the crone.
Yeah.
You know, again, Manthara, Shakuni. It's so entrenched in our mythology that I thought that's where it came from.
I also think that good rarely needs a catalyst, but evil does. I
So
think,
that we can blame it on someone else.
yes, you know, you always want to blame it on somebody. Evil always needs, in any of our books and epics, evil always needs a catalyst. So yeah, that's how the crone happened.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Oh, Jitesh Pillai. Girl.
Hello.
Hi.
Is there a real life fantasy? Have you read other fantasy authors who you're really, really inspired by?
Yes, of course. I think, as my favorite author Neil Gaiman would say, you first sound like the authors you love before you start to sound original and before you start to sound like yourself. So yeah, of course, Neil Gaiman and Ursula Le Guin and Enid Blyton. I think we underrate Enid Blyton's fantasy, in the fantasy genre, The Wishing Chair and The Faraway Tree, and she's written some amazing books. So yeah, of course, I've read so much, and that's all I read. I read all the books that are available on Amazon Kindle, which come free, which probably 2 people have read, and just because they came free. I read anything that is fantasy.
So there's a launch offer today. This book is going to be available free right outside. Everyone will read it.
Talk to Amnesia after this.
So why dark things? I know, but
So, when I started writing the book, I realized there were a lot of dark things in the book, and it was supposed to be a working title. And I honestly thought the good folks at Hachette would want to change it, marketing and all that, but they loved it. So we kept dark things, and it stayed dark things. It works for the hashtag. Yeah,
because I've actually read your first book, And I thought that was very, there were parts of it that were very sexual, but it was, a sweet love story. And
Yeah.
this is a complete contrast.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I also feel at this point in my career, I feel I'm ready to explore the dark side of characters, of people.
Yeah.
So, does it have to really do with, yeah?
I think Jitesh always says, even when I used to hand in an interview like yours, which would be all joy and sweetness and light, he would be like, "You're such a dark writer," and I'd be like, "Why do you keep saying I'm a dark writer?" You know, but for some reason he thinks I'm a very dark writer and I'm drawn to dark things. So I'm not surprised that I'm drawn to dark things in that sense. I think if you are a fantasy reader and you're a fan of say Neil Gaiman, dark things come very naturally.
You're obviously
You're
not
writing.
drawn to me, right? Because I'm.
You're sweetness and light. It's okay. Okay. I love you, but I'm not drawn to you.
Thank you.
Thank God.
Thank God, thank God. I've really asked you all that I wanted to ask you. If there's.
So, Sukanya, you're also into movies, right?
I hope so.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Any ideas about taking this book into the movie land?
I think she should.
Who would you play?
She'd been a great Hera.
I'd love to be Hera.
I know,
I'd love to be Hera.
deep down she wants to get into the crone disguise and actually play her because that's Vidya.
Maybe I can do both.
Yeah, maybe you could do both. All the
No, but
prosthetics would be
genuinely,
there.
even I thought of Hera. I think it's
She'd make a great Hera.
such a fascinating character. I know I'm saying that about every character actually now, but I love Hera. I love her darkness.
The black pearl eyes, yes. But to answer Ruchika's question, yeah,
Or
sure.
the jewel blue eyes.
Jewel blue eyes is that.
Yeah, but who?
That's who would play him?
Yeah.
I don't know. You tell me. I'm not like.
Going by the color of the eyes, it would have to be Hrithik Roshan.
Yeah, why not? Hrithik would actually make a great Tara. Okay.
Yeah, he's
So
just
yeah.
waiting he's waiting right outside. No, but I do think you should, you should make this into a film.
Yeah, so now she said it, maybe it'll happen, who knows? Of course, every writer, I mean, they do have a visual idea of what their book will look like, who knows? मुंह में घी शक्कर.
Release a book?
Yes, go for it.
Well, it's part request, part question. Can you guys read out the sun, moon, and stars thing sounded fabulous. Can you read from that, if possible?
Sure.
And I have a question for Sukanya as well. Writers are very possessive about the things they write. How did it feel to, because you've held editorial positions, so how did it feel to be asked to trim things down and change this and change that?
I think if you really mean to get your book published and not just write things in a secret blog, you have to allow rewrites. Rewrites are what make your book. Edits are what make your book. Your first draft is, I don't know, did Hemingway say it? I'm not sure. Your first draft is shit, okay? It's just your brain vomit, to be honest. And everything else, please listen to your editor. If anybody else is going to publish a book here, listen to your editor. They mean well for your book. They love your book as much as you do. Rewrites are really important. Edits are really important. And now I will stop talking because she is going to read.
हाँ खड़े हो जा
In the days when Prithvi was still young and Akasha already a few million years old, there was no sky separating the two, just water the color of smoke. Just water the color of smoke and twilight. Water that flowed from earth to sky and back. The stars floated in the ocean, shimmery sea creatures of light and ice. Then the old gods created the sun and the moon, and they created the sky, colorless and vast, so they could live in it. And the ocean was sent to earth, but leaving a part of it still in Akasha, now known as the old sea. But the stars fell in love with the sky and wanted to stay there. So for many eons, the sun, moon, and the stars lived in the sky, not knowing day, night, or slight twilight. The sun and the moon fell in love, and their ardor created sky storms all around. Their passion was so strong that sparks flew, bright as the sun, ethereal as the moon. These were the Gandharvas, children of the skies, born of passion.
I should do my audiobook, please.
अरे बाहर बैठो यार, बैठ के ले लो यार। दूसरी बात तुम लोग करो, तुम लोग कर लो, ठीक है? अरे यार किसके
अरे यार बहुत दूर चले गए एकदम। यार को बोलना क्लोज करने के लिए चेयर।
हाँ।
So basically, I wanted to ask, how difficult is it to get fantasy fiction published? Because you know, when in other genres, you know whether you connect with a character or not. Everything in fantasy fiction is imagination. So at what point do you say, okay, this is worth just a blog, and now it's, I don't know, something enough for it to become a book?
So when you start writing, if you write to get published, then you're killing a book, to be honest. Because I think it helps for writers process-oriented and not outcome-oriented. Publishing comes later. Publishing comes once you finish the first draft. Publishing comes once you know that this is a story that is polished enough to be sent out to either an agent or a publisher. Having said that, I actually sent my story, the first chapter, into a contest, and that's how I got my deal. So I'm really lucky. But my general advice to people who want to be published, doesn't matter what your genre is. I think that you have to just write. Write first, finish your story, polish it, and then see what happens.
The most difficult thing for a writer is to actually write. How disciplined were you while you were going through and writing this book?
I think my friends who actually saw me through the process will know this answer. I'm very whiny when I write. Like I'm unbearable. Yeah, you know. Um, I think the biggest distraction is the internet and all those cat pictures out there. Seriously, okay? You have to switch off the internet. And the other part is when you're a writer, nobody actually believes that you're writing. Oh, she's just writing a book. She doesn't have a real job. She can come out for lunch with me. She can watch this movie with me. So it's really difficult to tell people no. This is my writing time. It's my job. I'm my own boss. I can't give myself permission to step out at 3 p.m. to have wine with you or coffee with you because I have to actually finish this job of writing. It's really difficult, but you have to protect your writing time. And being disciplined, yeah, it comes. It comes. Once you realize you're not making the progress that you should be making, well, it'll come naturally, to be honest. And I think every writer has a different process with discipline. Some people are very good, some people are erratic like me, but you get the job done at the end of the day, hopefully. That's...
Vidya, have you ever thought of writing a book?
No. I don't have any stories to tell except the ones that others write. And if it's compelling enough, then I'm happy to tell them, but no, really. I have no imagination, I think. And discipline is definitely not there. So that's out of the question.
Ruskin once said that there are more writers than readers. So in this time when people are reading less and less and everybody's addicted to the internet and iPads and all of that, is it a challenge for a writer to sort of gain that, like films have a market, so do books have that extra onus of involving the readers? How do you, as a writer, is that a huge challenge when you write?
To involve the writer? To involve the reader? I think irrespective of whether people are reading or not reading, when you tell a story, it is a challenge. You have to, I think it's the same when you write a screenplay, when you're directing a movie. I think anybody will agree with me. Involving your audience is a task, and you have to keep your story on dot. You have to make sure that you're hitting the right plot points. All those are technical points. But I think what's happening today is because of blogs, because of Twitter, because of everything, Snapchat, Periscope, name it. Everything. Everybody's a writer today. Everybody's a writer. I see some people on my Twitter timeline who write such exquisite things, and but those are 140 characters. And I see some people who write 500 words of these the most amazing, expressive things. Everybody's a writer today. So if you want to stand out in your story, the discipline thing that Niranjan said, an average book is anything between 75,000 words to more, like 1,25,000. You have to get there. You can't stop at 5,000 and say, I'm done, I can't do this. So I think that involving the reader first starts with involving yourself. You have to be committed to the story, and then the rest just happens.
Also, I meant the challenge for a writer, in the sense, this has to be marketed in A. So does that bog you down?
I hope it does not bog writers down to think of marketing in the beginning of writing a story. I think if you want to tell a story, you should tell the story. Because you should write, again, I said this before, you should write because you have to write, not write because you want to be published. Publishing should only be an outcome. It cannot be part of your process while you're writing. That will just kill your story. So I'm hoping that you don't have to worry about marketing when you initially start writing. But yes, it's a job. I know when I finished the book, we worked as a team to get the book out, and we're here today because we worked as a team on the marketing and publicity and stuff. You can't ignore it. You can't crawl into your hole and say, I'm not going to worry about any of those things. That's part and parcel of being a published author.
How many other books did you start writing but then gave up midway?
So this book is actually the product of a bigger book that I started and couldn't actually write. That was more deeply entrenched in mythology than this one. I actually created Ardra for that book and then realized that, hey, I have actually 2 stories here. I don't need to make them one story. So that's one. And then 3 novels. Yeah, 3 novels lying in drafts, which I don't think I'll finish.
Not bad.
Yeah.
You have to tell us more about how that happened.
Oh yes, I really wish she was here. The artist who did the cover, Azma Kazi. She's fantastic. I found her on Instagram actually. Thank you, social media. This is what happens when you're active on social media. I found Azma on Instagram and we followed each other. And her work is so enchanting that I had to ask her. And I was really scared because she's someone who's had showings in London and Saatchi Art Gallery. And I was like, this is really presumptuous of me to even think she would want to do a cover for me. Actually nobody knows about me. But she read the book and she was so excited that I'm glad she agreed to do the cover. And there you are. There you have the cover. So.
Hi Sukanya ma'am. Hi Vidya Balan.
Hi.
As everybody knows that every writer has an inspiration. So where did you get your inspiration from?
Not from one person or one thing. I think if you're a writer, you're inspired by everything. I was telling somebody else today that for a writer, everything is a story. So beware. You talk to a writer and you've given them a story basically. So the inspiration comes from everybody, from everyday things, from everyday experiences.
This is a story I actually told you a few years ago.
No, this is a story that actually happened to you 3 years ago. This happened to you, remember? Your memory has been modified. But So inspiration, it comes from everywhere, not just one from one.
So what's your target audience according?
Everybody. Please, everybody read the book. There's no target audience at all. Yeah.
One more. Has anybody said you an elder version of Akshara Hassan?
That's because of my hair. I don't look anything like Akshara. I'm glad she's not here today. No. Thank you though. Thank you. That's a great compliment. She's really pretty.
Thank you, ma'am.
There was one other gentleman.
I can speak over everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone can hear me?
Yeah.
So talking about Instagram and talking about social media and also mentioning this, your favorite writer, one of your favorite writers is Neil Gaiman. So we know that you actually have a personal connection with Neil Gaiman. Can you tell us about that? And also, what does he do? About that things, can you tell us about it?
Well, I'm just one of those lucky people who Neil Gaiman follows on Twitter. And he actually wants to read my book, so I will send it to him at some point. But I'll send it to him soon. But that's about it. Thank you.
Last question. Anyone?
Listen, everyone's asking a different question and very intelligent questions. This doesn't happen. So are you all Sukanya's friends and have you all been primed?
Vidya, we just love you.
Which was your darkest moment when you were writing?
Very quickly and briefly, so people are not for the book. I think my darkest moment was there is a bit in the book with the river of death, where this character has to go down to the river of death to do something. I will not say what. And actually, I was writing with Nikita, who's there. In Goa, we were doing a little writing hideout, and she knows that I was so depressed after writing that bit that I needed cheesecake. It was difficult for me. I didn't smile for a whole day. So that was probably the darkest bit.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm actually gonna do my thank yous now. So from where I'm standing, all I see is a sea of inspiration. There are people here who have inspired me to write, to create. There's Niranjan, I can see Niranjan. There's Anuradha, who listens to my whining when I'm, can't. There's Jitesh, there's Shraddha, sorry if I'm leaving somebody out, Seja, Jason. So Jason actually sent me a 12-page, 4,000-word review, like a feedback which made the book what it is today. So there's Jason. I can thank so many people. There's Ali Peter Johnson who's come today. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. Thank you everybody for coming. And yeah, I hope you had a good time. Thank you to the team from Heshet. They're the most amazing team, I have to say. There's Avnija and there's Prerna. Edited my book and, handled all my tantrums, but yeah. I don't know what Divya, there's Divya. And my husband, oh my god, he's hiding in the back. I got husband, thank you.